Too late now. Did you just go live?
You know what? Let's just do it.
It was totally intentional.
Because it said it was 7:09 and I panicked and I just hit go live instead of getting everything ready.
Hi guys.
Shit. What's up? Oh no.
We don't need an opening theme. It's fine. I'm just glad I didn't have like a finger in my nose or something when you did it. Like
picking my nose or hacking up a loogie. Oh my god. So, hey everybody, welcome to another episode of UHS Presents. I'm your host, Sarah, and I'm here with Lori. Like, obviously you saw that immediately as we did not prepare in the usual way at all.
It's materialized.
Yes, it's good times.
It's fine.
I was looking for a different, because this is our thing now, right? Doing weird stuff with the upper halves of our body. This is our thing now. We're doing it. And I was looking for another wig and discovered that I haven't unpacked my suitcase from like the con that I went to like 2 weeks ago. And originally it was because the cats were sleeping on it and it was just really cute, so I didn't want to disturb them.
Oh yeah.
And that
they
was
love
2 weeks ago.
Suitcases. Yeah.
What is that? And then and the suitcases have that stupid piping on it, and cat hair gets wedged in between the piping and the flat part, and it's impossible to remove. You just have to throw the suitcase away and get a new one if you want a hairless suitcase. You just can't. Yeah. So anyway, I found a wig. I got this. This one's actually pretty new. This one's just I'm undecided. Lori says it looks good. Y'all tell me if it looks nice. I'm undecided. I thought it looked a little like what's Morticia Addams, the actress? Her Angela something, right? Frick. But
that's a good thing.
That is a good thing. But I don't want to be like stealing her thunder or anything. And I'm not exactly cosplaying as anybody. I was just like, this is a wig, and I'm gonna wear something different. And like, y'all are never gonna see. It's for Lori and I both. Like, it'll be like really rare to see our real hair on the show anymore, right? Unless we do something really goofy with it.
Yeah.
It'll be fun. So
should be good.
UHS news. Do we have any? Besides the thundering, which you have 3 more days. 3 more days.
Yes. 69 hours currently, so there's a joke in there. Basically till Thursday you have to back it and get all the campaign exclusive stuff. We're about 5K away from basically our final stretch goal, which we really want to hit, which is the virtual tabletop, where we're going to be on Roll20. We're going to get the whole module and art and mechanics and everything ported over to Roll20 by Sigil, and it'll be on there and it'll be available for everyone. So I really, really, really want to hit 50K. So
that would be so cool.
Share and back and like it and
thing.
Do we have a link?
Yeah.
Where's the link?
Yeah. We have the link in the banner. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
And yeah, like for when people, if you think that sharing, that liking the links and sharing them to your own page is stupid, don't think that, because it totally is amazing for us. So if you want to help us but you can't back the campaign, that's super. That's fine. We get it. It's we don't hold any. We would never hold that against you, because we all have to be money conscious too. So we get it. But like, seriously, like and share. It really does help, for reals. So definitely do that.
It's huge. It's huge. I'm really excited about this campaign. It's, of course, like blown everything out of the water. We've done so well. I'm really excited to make the book and make more tabletop stuff, because clearly you guys want more.
Yeah.
So
you guys, like this whole thing, I started out like all the prep work leading up to the beginning of launching this campaign. Like, still did not really like. I've never really gotten a good game of D&D in, never played, didn't care. And then the campaign launches and we have to do all this stuff, like all the promotion stuff, and now it's like, I'm into it. And I made my own character, I drew a character, I'm making D&D themed bead sprites, which I think most everybody knows that I do that for funsies, right? making D&D sticker stuff. Like, I'm into it now, and now I want to play. So we're gonna do that, right? We are still gonna have a.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if that'll be like a streamed game, but it'll be yeah, like we're gonna play. And I've actually had a couple of friends who are D&D nerds who are like, they offered to do one-shots with me now. And
nice.
I was like, okay, if we're going to do a streamed game at any point, then yes, please, I would like one-shots, because that way I can be less of a moron on stream. but like, I've done way dumber stuff than I could possibly pull off in a D&D campaign, so maybe I don't care that much. I don't know.
It'll be fine.
That's why people like me, right? Because I make them feel better about themselves, about the dumb stuff that I do, and I don't feel ashamed about it because I'm a person and I am flawed, and I don't care what you think about me. I care.
Well, the thing is in a D&D game, like, you can do anything, and there might be consequences, but there are no dumb ideas.
There's some messed up stuff that I've seen on shows, and that it makes your mind, it makes the wheels in your head start spinning, and I like those things hang on in your head, and they've hung on in mine, and I'm like, I wonder if I could get away with that in a D&D.
Yes.
So given the opportunity, I'm probably gonna test that theory. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited. To play.
Same.
Hey, Andrew.
We have. Hey, Andrew. Yes, thank you for joining us. And I hope we hit that stretch goal, that last one. But
we did. He's stuff. Actually.
Oh, sorry. So he's saying we did hit the stretch goal.
Yeah, we hit the unlock for the shirt that I'm going to be adding probably after the stream, and then the virtual tabletop I think is the 10th stretch goal.
Yes, so cool. I'm just blown away. Planning on running a D&D stream for Sundering to friends or people. Awesome. We can't wait. We'll be waiting to hear about it. Yes, I'm very excited. We have other stuff besides the Sundering, though, right? Like, we have Stan's book stuff is still rolling. The hell else? Oh, Surgeon stuff. Like, everything's still in motion. You guys are gonna be hearing more about that soon. I really don't know, because I get told this stuff, but seriously, I get told and I remember it for as long as I have to in order to do stuff, and then it's just like right out the side. So that's why when Hannibal was saying he was worried about spoiling stuff, and I was like, he's worried about other people spoiling stuff, and I was like, you don't have to worry about me spoiling stuff. I'm definitely not going to spoil anything, because
I'm gonna forget.
Yeah, it's like, your secrets are always safe with me, because I will forget them as soon as you tell me.
Mm-hmm.
I'll keep them in my head. I'll retain it for as long as the conversation needs to happen, and that's it. Because it's not on purpose, I promise. Like, it's not because I don't care. It's because my brain is a sieve. But anyway, yeah. So that stuff's all happening. So, and Andrew, I guess people are getting their books now, and I've seen some of the sketches that Stan's doing, some of the for the custom sketch tiers, which are pretty cool. I think he's been posting them.
Yeah. I think he's done the postcard sketches. He might be halfway done the rest of them. And he's working on signing the book plates. I don't know if he's sending me everything in one batch or two, but hopefully soon. Everyone else who isn't getting a sketch. Yeah, exactly.
Like, if you send them in one, like, we might not get any of it, but if you send them in two, we might only get half of it, but we might get all of it. Like, yeah, it's a crapshoot. It's international mail. What are you gonna do?
With our plan of shipping it to the UK and then over to us, things seem like they're going to work. I think they're going to work better. I guess the UK has less of a political agenda with Russia, or so the post office is more okay with packages from there. But yeah, so everyone who isn't getting a book plate or a sketch should have their stuff really soon. Surgeon is being lettered; it's almost done. Super is being lettered as well, so you guys should be getting a whole bunch of stuff this month.
Mm-hmm. Oh, like, this is not the unofficial announcement too, but since Mike already posted, you guys might have noticed we're gonna have like an official launching and stuff, but UHS Presents did join the Agents of Geekdom, so we're gonna be a part of that streaming lineup as well. So that's, you know, more to come. And yeah, check out FSCon. Is it FSKCon or is it FSCon? I don't know how you
FSCon.
FSCon. Yeah, like that's happening. Is it next week or 2 weeks? That's happening pretty soon. And there's gonna be like an official launch stuff, but you know, keep your eye out for that too. I just remembered that.
We're gonna be doing panels for that and all kinds of cool stuff, giving away prizes, giving away comics, talking about women in comics, talking about all kinds of stuff. So you guys are
like I would love to actually just go. It's not even that far from me. It's like, I don't know, I guess if I drove it'd be like an 8-hour drive. But
oh, that's not bad.
Yeah, right? It's far enough away that the gas is still too expensive, and I'm like, maybe next year. I'd love to, but maybe next year. And yeah, maybe next year we all can go. That'd be fun, right? In a different universe where we all have money.
That would be awesome.
Yeah. Wouldn't it though? So, okay, well, tonight, everybody knows, I'm sure everybody who's joining us is aware that we are having another Matt's Monster Movie Monday, so we can go ahead and just bring on Mr. Monster Movie Matt.
Mm-hmm.
Hello, Matt and Field Assistant Caston, Professor Frank and Field
Greetings, students. To your seats. I won't say it again. We'll tolerate no tomfoolery here. We're here to discuss the mystical Orient. And that's the last time I'm going to say that.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
That's a little dicey, isn't it?
Well, you know that it was, at the time, even the most well-meaning, even those well-meaning foreigners going to Japan were just like, yes, I've just returned from...
Yep.
Insert pejorative term here. And like...
Historically accurate.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm not going to go any further than that, though.
It's given me the sudden urge to research the word and where it came from. Why is it not okay? You know, because I know that it's kind of dicey, but I also don't know why.
It's interesting because there's like I recently learned that Disneyland Tokyo is actually owned by the Oriental Land Company. Like that's the name of the company, and they like Disney doesn't own that land. They rent it from the Oriental Land Company, and it's one of the reasons why it's considered the most profitable of the Disneylands. So yeah,
that makes sense actually when you think about it.
Yeah, we had a bit of
there's a couple of companies that have the word Oriental in their names, and it's like, is that okay? I don't know. I'm not gonna say if it is or isn't. I'm just gonna say that it's a thing. I don't know if it's okay or not. That's not my place. I'm too white to decide any of these things.
Too white to decide anything.
Yes. And I don't want to. That's the thing, is like, I don't want that responsibility.
That's gonna be my next podcast after the other podcast, which is it funny or just racist? It will be too white to decide anything. Anyway.
You are welcome.
Brad is asking about that. Do we have Matt? Do you have a little?
Hold on, I'm breaking the illusion.
Your magic box.
Yes, my magical box. No, not.
I think because it was used as a term for the people. I think that's where it gets dicey, but I could be wrong.
When and where did the term Oriental become offensive? Nothing like a cadre of white people discussing what is and isn't offensive. I
mean, as somebody who's had, obviously I haven't been insulted with a racist term, because that's something that white people do to other people who aren't white. I know that this all is coming out so clunky and it sounds so bad, but I swear to God, I have a point and I don't mean it the way it sounds. But, and I forgot my point too, so, It's
okay.
It's that I've had things. People have insulted me, not with racist terms, but was like, nasty stuff. And like, I think that it's is it racist or is it just mean? And I think that might be in the eye of the beholder kind of thing. Like if you think it's if you think it's pejorative in a way other than just you're being an asshole to somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
I mean, according here, it says that because at the time it was used, there was a lot more racism towards people from the Orient, and so it's more of a time thing. Like at the time, it was considered like you would say the term and it's automatically associated with somebody you didn't like or somebody that you felt superior towards. They were very foreign. It makes them sound more foreign and others them more. So I believe that is where the issue comes from, according to the Reddit post I dug up.
We're learning.
Anyway, we're gonna move on from that.
Yeah, we're not here to talk about that. Actually, although we could make an entire show about that, we are here to talk about Howl from Beyond the Fog, which is a fantastic little independent project, right? It was independent.
Yes.
It was kickstarted, wasn't it?
Yes.
Something similar.
It was part of it was kickstarted. So the Howl from Beyond the Fog, as you said, Sarah, it's an indie kaiju movie that's it was in production for a couple of years, pretty much almost entirely out of pocket by the director and creator Daisuke Sato, and later on in the process, initially they were planning on doing a lot of the effects just with puppetry and only puppetry, and then eventually they actually did a Kickstarting campaign to have a full monster suit of Nebula, the monster from the film.
Which, can we remark on Lori's amazing hair and makeup, which is reflective of the monster, both in color and all the little sticks on its back.
Thank you. I was actually building up to that, and I appreciate you pointing that out.
Oh, I steal your thunder. The poor white male didn't get his thunder.
Oh man, this
Matt
show
leaves.
is in danger of just derailing on so many points.
This is why we don't let women be professors. This is you're muddying up with all of your words and your opinions. So yeah.
And we're canceled.
Oh no, but no, I'm really glad that we took time to. We good? Okay.
But yeah.
Okay. I'm really glad that we took the time to watch this movie. We're having some audio issues, I think.
Yeah,
Sarah's a second or two behind us.
You know what? I'm just gonna back out of this shit and come back in. How's that sound? Let's see if it works.
Okay.
She backed out? There we go. Okay.
There we go.
Yay. But yeah, no, I when we first logged on, it took me a minute to I was like, wait a minute, why does she have sticks in her hair?
For a second, it took me a moment, and then I saw the color of your eyeshadow. I'm like, oh, that's smart.
Thank you.
There she is. Hi, Sarah.
I love that the fucking camera settings reset because I didn't turn it off. I just.
It's okay. You're like Dark Sarah.
There you go.
There you go. I like that. Yeah.
Dark Sarah.
But yeah, I was just really glad we were able to take the time to watch this movie. As I was saying, the suit for Nebula was supervised by kaiju making legend Keizo Murase, who had made the original Mothra. He had made King Ghidorah. He made like almost all the Ghidorahs. Tons of monsters he either worked on or supervised the creation of. So they really wanted to get him involved. And I will save these for later, but Sato-san actually answered a couple of questions for me about the movie. So we will save those for later. Cass and I just got back from a convention, so our brains are pudding.
And we got another convention we're leaving for on Thursday.
We're going to be at All Monsters Attack in Indianapolis, so come on out, folks.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, so...
Well, I hope I didn't miss too much.
No, we were just gushing over Laurie's makeup job.
I don't know if I told you this before the show or if this is your first time hearing it, but I did notice that, y'all, if you want to watch it and you haven't yet, aside, like, obviously Matt's watched it probably 100 times, but if you want to, you can watch it for, I don't know, at least the month of September on Amazon Prime, if you have it. I just noticed it was there. And it says it's an hour and 10 minutes on there, so I'm not sure.
It probably includes
what else is in
behind
there.
The scenes or something.
Yeah, I'm thinking it must, because that movie is not an hour and 10 minutes long. The movie itself is not that long.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was not very long at all. Like it's like you're gonna take longer to watch an episode of Sandman than you are to watch this movie. So so yeah, you can watch. You could if you caught the description on our stream post thingy. It would. I said you can buy it. You can watch it on Amazon Prime right now. So if you had that opportunity, then you get to follow along and be like, I know what you're talking about. But otherwise, this movie was so different. I know I've still got a pretty limited experience with kaiju movies in general, but this movie was so much different. And Matt, you said why once already. I heard that because of puppetry. It's yes, there's people in suits, but there's always people in suits. It's not what makes it cool and special and different from the others. The puppets aren't just people in suits. It's the whole movie. So, which is really cool. Once you get past that, which it was like
it's jarring.
It took me
I knew you were gonna do that word.
Yeah, the beginning of the movie, the opening scene, I don't think I'm spoiling too much. It's like it's a couple of people, travelers crossing a rope and bridge.
Yep,
and
which is
yeah, exactly. And it's not immediately evident that they're puppets. So when I first saw it, I was like, oh, they replaced it for puppets instead of using CGI. And then I was like, oh shit, no, the whole movie's puppets. And so yeah, it is a little bit when it's unexpected, especially since I didn't know that. If you know it beforehand, it kind of takes some of that away. But like I was not expecting that, so it took me a little bit. And there were a couple of points. I know, Laura, you mentioned one where it was just like once we got past the they're puppets, it was easy to enjoy the film anyway. But there were a couple of moments where the puppets were the cause of the lack of suspension of disbelief.
Well, in our society, we're used to anything puppets being, fun or for kids or something, whereas Matt would know the history better. But in Japanese culture, that's something that goes back a long way in storytelling, is the usage of puppets.
Yeah, a lot of it has to do with, especially in the traditions of, like you said, Japanese puppetry, Japanese puppet shows. They will do whole dramas just with puppets. The term is bunraku, I believe.
Say that again?
Bunraku.
Boon, okay.
Bunraku. Interesting side note, I didn't know this until fairly recently when I watched, I can't remember the name of the video, but it was the history of anime, basically over the course of 2 videos, just 2 quick YouTube videos. But after the war, after World War II, and Japan was, everybody was stretched pretty thin. Resources were hard to get a hold of across the board. And one of the things that kids were pretty limited in what they were able to do. They didn't have Bandai toys at the time. They didn't have video games or anything. They didn't even have ball in a cup. It's a bunch of kids in a country that had just been defeated and was now being occupied. So these guys would come around to the different schools and they would have a little box on the back of their bike, and the kids would all come outside like during lunch break or something, and they'd sit and watch this guy do this little paper puppet show. And a lot of the styles and storytelling of those puppet shows would later kind of reflect a lot of how anime was made. That's why you see a lot of still images in anime.
Were those the stories they told, were they very like kid-centric, like, you know, fairy tales, or were they, you know, a little more dark, like a grim fairy tale?
A lot of traditional Japanese fairy tales also tend to be very, very, very dark.
Okay.
Like, I mean, I'm sure the story of what was his name? Momotaro. The story of Momotaro has probably got at least 9 beheadings in it. And it's about a little boy who's born out of a peach. So, and his friend.
Well, it's not a good fairy tale unless there's a couple of beheadings, right?
I mean, you know, fairy tales are 9 times out of 10 cautionary. It's usually about like, don't go in the lake or you'll get eaten by something. Don't take any wooden nickels. I don't know how that's really like. I don't really.
I have no idea what reference
that's
is.
more of a business thing, but like,
as a person who
wooden
grew up,
I think it means like don't take the promise of money, take actual money.
There you go.
Laura, go ahead. Yeah.
I was just going to make an offhand comment. I grew up with one German parent, and German fairy tales are extremely terrifying and violent. So this kind of, it's not, I'm used to it, but it's super weird when you haven't been exposed to that as a kid, you know, when you're used to kind of American fairy tales, which I don't think are quite.
Well, a lot of our
I think if you were born in like before like 1987, you had a whole different brand of fairy tale than any kid that's come after, because I mean,
true.
The Labyrinth, y'all seen The Labyrinth, like that's a fucked up movie, and that was our kids' programming. So, yeah, like that, and that's not the worst one either.
A lot of it was also taken from, you know, old fairy tales and old stories about goblins and stuff, which...
Why do we want to scare the shit out of our children? I don't...
Because they have to learn!
Yeah, like my fondest memory of a German fairy tale was one where, like, if you bite your nails, this guy comes along with this giant pair of scissors and just cuts your fingers off.
Yeah, that would definitely make me not want to chew my fingernails.
But like, why? Like, I read this when I was like, I don't know, 6. Like,
people chew their fingernails because they're anxious, and that story is not going to make you less anxious.
Well,
Holy
so much
shit!
Of parenting, especially old world parenting, was basically, all right, how can I walk the line between making sure my kids don't die and getting them to stop doing shit that annoys me? Like, that's really the line.
Wow,
right.
yeah.
Nowadays, we have things like psychology and therapy. What is that?
I feel like you're attacking me personally.
No. Although I am reminded of that other, speaking of puppets, that stand-up puppet, I forget his name, Freddie Feltman.
Jeff.
I think is his name.
There's a Jeff guy, Jeff something.
You're talking about the comedian.
I don't remember.
Yeah, the comedian.
But
Jeff Dunham.
No, not him. This is an actual, like, the puppet is the comedian.
Like a puppet, not a ventriloquist.
Oh, the puppet is the comedian. Oh, okay.
He has a bit where he talks about, like, you spend their whole childhood keeping your kids from dying, and then in their 30s they get a little bit of therapy, and then everything's your fault. So, anyway, back to the movie.
Yes, we did want to talk about that a little, didn't we?
A little bit. I guess I should give a quick synopsis in case people don't actually know what the hell we're talking about.
Yes. Hit it.
Okay. Yeah. So, the basic plot. So again, the movie is called Howl from Beyond the Fog, or as it's called in Japan, the Country of Fog, or the Land of Fog, or it has a couple of different translations because it's written in very traditional kanji. But the story goes that it opens with this bridge, but that's just the opening scene. It takes place in the early 1900s, hence period-appropriate attire, or as close as we can approximate. Didn't have time to go to Lucy's in Disguise. But early 1900s, so this is kind of like after Japan has barreled through the Industrial Revolution, because for a long time Japan was isolated, and then like they basically tried to ramrod through the Industrial Revolution in basically a generation. This guy is going home to visit his mother, if I remember correctly, because his brother died. He then finds out he has this cousin in the attic of this old house who's blind for a very specific reason. And he then discovers that his cousin has formed a bond with this giant lake creature that's not named in the film, but they called it Nebula in the production itself. And she kind of has this friendship with this terrifying creature, but there's some trouble brewing because a lot of the people, the people in the town, especially this group of what I assume to be influential men, they're like, we need to sell this land because the country is going through this unprecedented development. We want to sell this land and all get rich. But there's a monster living on the land. So that's where the conflict.
In the lake.
On the land in the lake.
Yes.
I think that's it in a nutshell.
Yeah. Works for me.
Sounds good.
There's always some rich asshole that's trying to do something horrible, isn't there? Like it's not just kaiju movies. It's not a cultural thing. It is fucking universal. It's all like the rich guy, the rich asshole trope, bad guy.
Capitalism.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Capitalism.
I mean, well, they're so blamable though, aren't they? Like it's so easy to vilify them because they are literal villains. Like Jeff Bezos looks like the dude from Superman. Like, come on, they're all bad people. You don't get that rich without hurting other people very indiscriminately.
He's building a penis rocket. Only villains can do that.
Only Jeff Bezos can build a penis rocket before Elon Musk does.
That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, there's.
So,
go ahead.
my favorite, I think once you get past the whole puppets thing. I don't know, Lori. I don't know if you wanted to tell us that the one part that made you lose it with the puppets. But once you get past that, it's a cute, compelling, not cute.
I was about to say,
like, the puppets themselves are actually kind of cute, but the story is very. It's a dark story, but it's also at the end like it's kind of like cautiously optimistic ending, and so it's not a complete. Like, you aren't going to be more depressed after you watch it than you were before, probably.
Which is usually the case of a lot of indie Japanese projects. It usually leaves you super depressed. Brave of the Fireflies, anyone?
I remember the first time we watched it with some of your friends in Houston, I was so disturbed because I'm just not used to I don't know if we're doing spoilers or not. I won't say, but
I mean, we can.
The big thing that happened in it, the reason she's blind, that whole thing.
Yes. I mean, well, we can just say it now. Like, if you guys want to watch this, like, we're gonna here.
That was amazing. I love that.
That
there
really
we go.
caught me off guard.
So yeah, like if you want to watch it and you don't want it spoiled, turn this shit off now and come back and watch it later. I promise we'll read all your comments after and we'll respond to them in kind. But be forewarned, we're gonna spoil shit now.
So the reason this gal is blind, they really didn't do an age, just a young, could be
they're
teenager,
both probably in their
early
20s.
When
you get to your 30s, you die of leprosy at that time.
But
Jesus.
the part of the story that we didn't put in that's important to this is that this is a multi-generational household. There was the parents, and then they had two daughters, and one daughter stayed home and did take care of the family, did the whole thing she was supposed to. The other daughter left the country, got knocked up by a non-Asian person, and has a child with blue eyes. And apparently, I don't know if that's unlucky or just evidence of, oh my gosh, they're a half-breed or something like that.
At the time, having a mixed child, especially at the time, was not great. Like from a cultural perspective, because they were still kind of coming out of this isolationist mentality. And even today, it's tough being half Japanese. But
so the mother was out of the country for at least the first several years of this girl's life, but she came home, and when she did, to not put the shame on her family and herself, she took what looks like an ice pick or a long needle and stabbed her daughter's eyes out. So she was blinded and nobody could see. And the imagery of when they did that, it was intense. And that just some of the
even with puppets, man, that was harsh. You expect puppets that there's that suspension of disbelief that it's not gonna be as gruesome, but like it is every bit as graphic to watch it with puppets as it would have been for actual,
well, your brain is filling in the blanks because a lot of that is conveyed through almost like a dream sequence.
Yeah, and you don't there's no gore or anything, but it's not having to let your brain do all of that filling in the blanks for you, and it was intense. And I still don't get why she did it, like, because
it was a shame thing. It was a
yes.
It was,
I get that, but what I'm saying is also, which I did a lot of research, and I'm sure Lori did too. She loves doing research for this, but that having a disability is a huge shame thing too. So she exchanged one shame for another shame. Like, it seems like regardless, this girl would have been, flowers in the attic, if you know that reference. Regardless,
I think. Well, remember, she put out the eyes just because. And then she tried to drown herself and her daughter. But then I think it's implied that Nebula came and actually saved her. The daughter. Yeah. So I mean,
like, foreshadowing who's right and who's wrong here.
Which is funny because since the movie, that's right. I remembered that was something I talked about with, I don't remember if it was you or someone else, but at the very beginning of the movie, Nebula destroys the bridge that has these people on it. But it's not, I just remembered Nebula is blind too. It's a very old, blind monster, and it just kind of plows through stuff. Unless unless
I remember the comment.
Unless it's calm and you're able to let that, like she plays music for it's like a koto or something that she plays for Nebula, and that is what gives it something to focus on.
Their connection. And I wondered if they each know the other is blind, or if it's just we're outcasts and we come together.
Yeah. Some kind of innate understanding. But there's like the connection with the movie's name is, I thought that it was the monster can't see, and only it can also manipulate. Nebula can manipulate the fog as well, but Nebula only comes out when it's foggy.
Nope.
And my thoughts on it was that the monster only comes out when it's foggy. What? The monster only comes out when it's foggy because that's when it's safest, because you can't see it until it's very close to you when it's foggy. So I thought was my understanding was like, the monsters, because they do a lot of zooming into its eyes to give you like that's a blind eye. Like they look and it's all like weird.
It's blue and milky.
Yeah. So like they don't say the monster's blind, but the monster's blind.
Well, they do a lot of just with the monster itself, a lot of visual indications that it is blind. For example, it kind of, because it's a kaiju movie, there's almost inevitably going to be a rampage of some sort, and it gets drawn by sound. And so, for example, there's the fire watch, the village fire watch, thinks there's a fire out in the woods, so he starts hitting the bell. And Nebula is drawn to that bell. And the other connection of, and this actually ties back a little bit into something I've talked with Sato-san about, which is the inspiration for the story. The monster has that very Foghorn-like roar.
Oh, I love it.
It sounds very metallic and kind of unnatural. And it's because part of his inspiration for the movie was the short story. I think it's called The Foghorn by Ray Bradbury.
Yes.
And it's about this ancient dinosaur that gets drawn to a lighthouse with a foghorn because it thinks it's the call of its mate. And then it realizes that it's not another living creature. It's just a lighthouse. It destroys the lighthouse, then dies of a broken heart. Because Ray Bradbury can't just let anybody be happy. Which was also the inspiration for The Beast from 20,000 Fathoms, which itself provided at least some inspiration for the original Godzilla.
Wow.
Circles within circles. Connections within connections. The Venn diagram of dinosaur tragedy.
Imagine how insanely complicated any Venn diagram about kaiju drawn by Matt Frank would be.
Yes.
All the things.
I kind of want to see it now. I'm not gonna lie.
I don't have time right now, but I may have to do that because I have to think about like exactly what those circles would be. Like
we could make a whole poster out of it, like the like leaves, like this is how like plant ID leaf poster. We could make a whole poster out of Matt's Kaiju ID Venn diagram thing.
Well, it's like you have environmental, you have environmental cautionary tale. You have nuclear proliferation cautionary tale. You have technological apocalypse cautionary tale. You have shared cultural trauma, like in the original Godzilla cautionary tale. And there's just like there's a sorry, the cat's doing something funny. And
the cat's just kneading on a giant stuffy.
The cat is kneading on a stuffy from a Godzilla movie, actually.
Oh, perfect.
Well, not a movie.
Oh, from Godzilla Singular Point,
yes.
From the anime.
Yeah, my favorite Godzilla thing.
Yeah.
But Lori, you went back and rewatched it because Sarah and I wouldn't keep our yaps shut when we were all watching it together.
Yeah.
So, going back and rewatching it, what were your thoughts on it?
I just got too excited, man.
Yeah.
No, it's fine.
I get
excited.
We'll do mute buttons.
Excited when I have with just like other people to talk to. It's just like
We'll do it. We'll mute and then take breaks to discuss. And then keep going.
Yeah, that would be good. I feel like that would be good. Yeah, oh wow. I keep thinking of points as you guys are talking for them and talking about them and then putting them off. So now I have to remember all the shit that I thought about. So give me a second. But first,
father, it's not a Rodan plush.
The puppets are. It's really interesting. I'm going to go back to that just for 1 second. They do this amazing job of. Despite them not having facial expressions that move or change, they have, hair that moves with wind, and they have angles, and they have stuff like that to convey emotion. And they use music throughout the movie to convey emotion. And I went into a bit of a rabbit hole about the music because it's really weird and pretty, and there's like shamans and weird singing, and it's really pretty.
Yeah.
The music is amazing.
And apparently the whole score is by Chocho, and Chocho is two people. It's a woman and a man who are married.
Aww.
And the man is the composer, and the woman is the artist, the singer, instruments, etc.
Oh.
And yeah, I looked into them and they seem like really cool. And I was like, I want to hear more music by these people because this whole soundtrack is amazing. And then I had another thing to bring up with like the blindness and the sight. I think they're trying to also make a statement about how all the people with eyesight in the movie are kind of making a lot of mistakes, and they're missing the big picture despite having eyes and sight. And the people who are blind and Nebula, like, they sense intent and they I guess they see the truth without being able to see. And I thought that was kind of
I like it.
Takiri is the blind lady, right? Takiri?
Yeah.
She makes a point to the I can't remember the boy's name. Shit. She makes a point to her cousin, the boy that comes at the beginning of the movie, like he's kind of the central character, I guess. But like she says that sometimes you have to close your eyes to see, or something of that nature. And that's kind of I overlooked it the first time that I watched the movie. I overlooked it completely. But then after the fact, I came back and I was like, oh, they're saying because the sighted people, like, to tie back to what Lori just said, like the sighted people are blind to some of this stuff that they shouldn't be, and Takiri says sometimes you have to close your eyes to be able to see, and that was like the lesson, I guess. Yeah, like she literally covers his eyes, and that's when he befriends Nebula the monster, right? That's like the moment when Nebula touches his nose to their hand and doesn't eat them. So like, I guess we're friends now.
Like, he wouldn't see that monster. It's fucking huge. Like, he just would have been terrified. Like, there would have been no calm. Like, it's a terrifying thing that's 1,000 times your size. Like, the only way
they do a very excellent job of showing the size, the sheer enormity of this monster with their props and their puppetry, and like it's a massive beast.
Which is so funny because from a scale perspective of like because the reality is that as the kaiju genre goes along in the real time, monsters just keep getting bigger and bigger, especially because the skyscrapers of Japan have gotten bigger and bigger over the years. And I believe Nebula is really only maybe the size of a large dinosaur or something. It's not Godzilla size. It's maybe Kong size, or give or take, or Monster Hunter monster size. And but if you know how to play with scale, you can make it feel still truly huge, especially because it's in this little mountain village and all the buildings around it are not very big. And it's like, there actually is, as doofy as I think Jurassic World is, there is a pretty good line from B.D. Wong in the first movie where he says, a monster is a relative term. To a canary, a cat is a monster. We're just used to being the cat.
Yep.
Man, talk about a movie that almost was a movie.
So close.
So close to having a point. And then Raptors, though. Go ahead.
Sarah,
Did
you
we
okay?
lose Sarah? Okay.
What? No, I had an itch.
Oh, you're good.
Reach my itch.
But yeah, I think there's a lot like of underlying, like not to judge people by their appearance. Like, I think that's really a big underlying theme.
Oh, definitely,
on this. Yeah.
Or just not to judge people in general, like this idea of trying to find connections between people, because the monster Nebula is a monster by our definitions, and and in some way Takiri is also a monster because of how she was seen for it's like I'm thinking about stories of foreigners interacting with the Japanese through the history of them reopening or them closing, and even as far back as the Sengoku Jidai during the Warring States period. One of the most interesting stories is, of course, about Yasuke the Black Samurai, who was a slave from supposedly from Africa, who had been brought over as, I think he was a servant of like a Dutch priest or something, and Nobunaga Oda, who was one of the most revered and terrifying warlords in Japanese history. He met Yasuke, or his name was not Yasuke at the time, but he met this guy and was like, what is this? Like, let's he ordered the man to be scrubbed, to try to scrub his skin, because they thought it was like oil or something on his skin. They kept scrubbing and it wouldn't come off. And he's like, oh, so you're just like this. And so apparently Nobunaga and Yasuke became really good friends, and like actually he became functionally a samurai in Nobunaga's army. But it is like that there has always been this kind of like the idea of like a young Japanese, essentially an heir to a wealthy household, having blue eyes would be so foreign to them. They would be like, what am I looking at? What am I physically looking at?
And sometimes in society, when something like that pops up, it can go two ways. It can be, you know, you're disgusting, you're hated, you're exiled, or it could be complete opposite. You're special, you're unique, you're blessed by the gods. Just a roll of the dice and, you know, I guess circumstances on which it would be.
Well, there is a saying in Japanese culture specifically, which is the nail that sticks up gets hammered down, because a lot of and of course, white guy talking about Japan, just making, pointing that out.
But you have been there many times.
I have a decent idea of some of the ebb and flow of the culture, and there is, a lot of the overarching nature of the culture. It seems to be keep the wheels greased, keep things moving, don't gum up the works. And you have weird stuff happen, it's rejected because it's like, that's different. That is not truck with society. That isn't truck with men. And that's one of the problems with being disabled in Japan.
You led into exactly what I was going to lead into.
Mm-hmm. Because both the monster and Takiri are disabled. They're both blind. And that was something that we started talking about after we all watched the movie.
Yeah, I did a lot of research in it, and I was really surprised to learn that even in modern times, that there is a big stigma associated with having disabilities, whether it's physical or mental. And it wasn't that long ago that just a few years, a guy went into a home and killed almost 20 different disabled people, thinking he was doing them a favor. And when the news covered these events, they didn't cover as much as they did, terrorist attacks that happened there. But the families, they were all hidden. Nobody released names because the stigma is so great that releasing the family names would bring shame on those families. And I was completely floored that we're lucky here in the US that we have, the Disabilities Act, and comparatively we're doing much better as far as equality goes for people with disabilities. And I thought, another modernized industrial country would be similar, but they still have a little catching up to do. And it's surprising. By no means is America better. We have
this is wild because we have so far to go ourselves, and yet
different
so to ever hear that somebody is actually behind us in any kind of form of equality is a little bit wild.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I know it exists, but
racism is still definitely a very big thing in Japan that they're struggling
racism
with.
And sexism is a problem too, from what I heard.
I cannot remember her name, and it's driving me crazy. But there's like a famous pop star, and she's half Korean, half Japanese, and she's absolutely phenomenal. But like a lot of her work she sings about like how hard it was for her to make it in the industry because she is half. Like, they do not approve of this. She's an abomination and all kinds of shit. Like, it's no, I can't. There's probably a few of them because.
Yeah, I mean, wasn't there like a Miss Japan who was actually half black, and
right.
And I mean, it's obviously she's gorgeous, but like apparently. That was considered a shocking thing for them to declare her to be Miss Japan, and people were like, oh. It's yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's why I find some of the most interesting kaiju movies to be the ones that do touch on the subjects of their culture, and they interrogate their culture rather than just try to protect the status quo. a lot of I love all the Godzilla movies for different reasons, but I remember there's a quote by the director of GMK where he talked about how he felt that, if I remember correctly, I might be misattributing this, but he felt that the Japan of the Godzilla movies of the 90s was too clean. It was too sanitized, too clean. It was all about protecting the status quo, and that the military is here to, protect us from the monsters. And there just wasn't a whole lot of like societal interrogation cultural interrogation going on, which is why his movies tend to have just a little bit of that, even just a sprinkling of that, like, things aren't perfect and we probably need to fix these things, but right now let's fight that monster.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of, the director and stuff, didn't you ask some questions?
I did, unless anybody else had any quick points they wanted to bring up, like on the subject of disabilities in Japan, things like that.
Laurie, describe the scene that made you break with the puppetry. I need to hear it again because I shit myself laughing a little, I think.
It's so funny too, because like it's so good and it's so emotional, and I was like super into it. And then there's one scene near the end,
and it's in the one of the most intense parts of the movie too.
It's a super intense part of the movie, and one of the puppets kicks another one of the puppets into the lake. And like, but because like you can't really animate puppets, like it just like a foot comes out and just like whacks them in the back.
It's a bit of
you guys, like I said, you can go watch it on Amazon. So when you do it, because I know you will now, you'll know the moment when you see it, and now you're gonna not be able to not laugh either. Just because Lori ruined it for you.
For a movie with a lot of artistic sleight of hand with the puppetry and the miniatures, and the characters' mouths don't move, but they're still talking. For a movie with all these artistic sleights of hand, for there to be this very literal puppet kicking another puppet felt like an odd choice. And it's really one of the only things that it's just like, that was odd.
Yeah, you see what they're trying to do, but it didn't quite land as well as we would have hoped, I guess. I mean, it doesn't ruin the whole movie or anything, but it is a little bit like, wow, that was really bad.
Well, I mean, it's also a question
because of the intensity of the moment is like.
Well, it's as I talked about before. Here in the West, we our movies and our special effects and TV shows, they have to be realistic. We want realism. We want it to be a one-to-one with reality, and anything outside of that is interpreted as a mistake. Whereas in Japan, a lot of special effects are just the realism is not that important,
because you're expected to do it yourself, to have an imagination. Like in America, you're served up everything. You don't have to do nothing but let your brain melt and watch the screen.
And which is, I was actually looking up some of the IMDb stuff for this movie, and I saw that it's got like a 4.2 out of 5 for the official website, which is for the and then it's got like a 76 on like something called Just Watch. I don't know what that is. But then IMDb, like the ratings are like 6.5 out of 10. And I'm just like, okay, you're all a bunch of charlatans. You all saw puppets and you were like, I don't like it because you have puppets.
It's the same thing. Yeah. You started introducing me to kaiju movies, Japanese kaiju movies. And I could not get my brain into it. I could not focus on the moment and be there because I'm used to this realism being served to me on a platter. And so I couldn't take it seriously. It took a bit.
I mean, even
it's foreign.
Yeah, even modern movies like Shin Ultraman will have all the CGI and more expensive looking special effects, but there's still kind of an uncanny unrealism to it. And that's a combination of, one, they don't have American movie budgets, and two, they kind of like it that way. They kind of like Ultraman looking really shiny and kind of unreal, and they like the monsters still being a little bit floppy and a little bit rubber suit looking. They even use the rubber suit of one monster to motion capture for the CG model. Like they attached mocap
Really?
stuff to
Nice.
the suit for Naranga, and then so you have this guy in a Naranga monster suit, like walking around on his hands and knees. But anyway, yeah, I can talk about the questions that I got from Sato-san if you guys want me to.
Yeah,
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. I'm glad we're in agreement.
What would you have done if I had said we didn't want to hear it?
You would have cried.
I probably would have left. I would have been like, "Hey,
Yep.
so Lori, I'm
Please.
gonna find a different publisher." No, it would take a lot. Okay, so I asked Sato-san, and I'm very fortunate that I will admit I'm a little bit biased towards this movie because I have known Sato-san for a while now. I met him at Tokyo Comic-Con in 2016, 2017, I think. And he's super cool, super nice guy. And I became enthralled with the project, and I actually made fan art for the movie. And he adopted that as like official poster art for the film, which makes me all kinds of giddy. No, I did not. I did not back the $400 tier to get this. I'm lucky enough the director gave me one.
Aww, very sweet.
So thank you, Sato-san. Okay, so I asked him about the film's concept, like what's the story, what were some of the inspirations, and he actually said that kaiju and Japanese kimonos were the first thing that came to mind, like those two things. Because kaiju as a genre tends to be very contemporary. It tends to be science-oriented.
Yep.
Whereas this is like, again, kind of at the
Early 1900s.
cusp of the Industrial Revolution. Yeah. He said first he drew the key image board and then built the setting and story from there, and then added elements from Ray Bradbury's Foghorn. So a lot of it was the imagery first as he was developing it, which I think is really interesting because I would have thought he would have been inspired by Foghorn first, but not everybody works the same. So then there was Murase-san, who was the again the supervising suit maker. Just worked on a ton of stuff. I asked how did he meet Murase-san, because you can't just like be like, oh yeah, hey, I'm friends with the guy who made King Ghidorah. He said Sato-san said that he had known Murase's name since he was in elementary school. So like he was already a kaiju nerd even as a kid, and which is how most kaiju nerds start. And then he met Murase-san around 2005 when he was working for a company called Replica, and Murase stopped by the office. Replica was the company that made Batra's kaiju suit. So Batra is the Dark Mothra. We haven't gotten to Batra yet, but there are different companies in Japan that basically studios outsource suit making and model making. Like there are these different groups, these companies that like that's their job, is to make monsters and make suits and props and stuff. It's kind of similar to here in the States. So he started working as a freelancer. He actually contacted Murase-san directly to work for his company. So he's had a connection with Murase-san for a long time. Let's see. I asked him, when you were younger, what kaiju movies influenced you? And there's going to be a couple of future. There's a future Matt's Monster Monday entry in here. His first Godzilla movie was Godzilla vs. Biollante. He said he saw it in elementary school, but he went to see the movie twice.
Oh, nice.
Nice, yeah, right? Like as an elementary school kid, you're just like, I'm going to see that movie again. It was cool. There was a lizard, and there was like a plant lizard.
Must have been nice to live in a town where you could just go to a movie without your parents. I would have had to like ride a horse or something, like walk 20 miles to the fucking movie theater.
Oh my god!
Oh, you town kids are so privileged.
I was gonna say, I think Aston probably grew up in a similar situation.
Out in the country.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're eventually going to do Godzilla versus Biollante as part of the show because that is like,
Ooh, yeah.
I think I was explaining the plot to Caston once, and it took like an hour, and I was like, by the end of it, I'm like Pepe Sylvia, like doing the whole like red string between like.
You should have just. Did you have her watch the movie first? You could have just been like,
no,
watch the movie.
God no.
That might have been easier. I don't know.
Are you okay, Caston? Give us a signal if you need help.
Blink twice if you need help.
Well, there is one issue. I tried to resolve it, but it's back, and I'm trying to just grit and bear it. Your breath is so bad.
Is it still bad?
It's so bad.
I thought it. Okay, well,
whatever
I'll
you
turn
ate
this
for
way. So anyway,
whatever you ate for lunch.
I had brisket and jalapeno tacos.
Okay, see, now that makes perfect sense.
And I also may have had a lot of margaritas and a lot of, what are they called? Daiquiris.
So we're just fucked up right now. That's
not more. I'm like, that was noon. That was big.
You say that like it's not weird to be drinking in the middle of the day. What the hell, man?
I went to lunch.
No judgment.
Drinks were involved. Okay.
I mean, it happens. It does happen.
It does. Okay, so I asked him what non-kaiju movies have inspired him, because I want to see more movies directed by Sato-san. He was heavily inspired by both Nausicaa and Princess Mononoke, which are both. Thank you, 774-30399968.
They're a robot.
That's a. I was a little bit conflicted because I was like, oh, the numbers, maybe a bot. Nah, that can't be a bot. Well, whatever. It's still
nice.
Not a bot.
Thank you for coming, and thank you for listening to us be crazy. We're just
Robots
weird. We're all very weird.
But
we all float down here.
He was heavily inspired by, these movies by Hayao Miyazaki, by the Studio Ghibli films, Nausicaa and Princess Mononoke, both of which I can see have their DNA in this film. He listed a couple other movies like Takeshi Kitano's Sonatine and Kids Return, which are both movies I had never heard of, but I heard of director Kitano before, so I believe he's a venerated director in Japan. And he also added that he does believe that Howl from Beyond the Fog was heavily influenced by Princess Mononoke. And I did ask him, why did you decide to portray the characters as puppets? Now we're getting to the meat and potatoes. We'll get dinner after. One reason is
now we're getting to the fajitas and peppers.
Yeah.
Well, not again.
I mean, he did that meat and potatoes like he was fondling some balls. So I just, okay. I think that's what Caston was thinking too. But
okay.
Moving on.
For dinner.
Don't threaten me with a good time. One reason that he decided to do puppets is that a director can control everything from the appearance to movement with dolls when thinking about how to make the film with the smallest number of people possible. Because remember, this is a slow budgeted film. And he said that one of the other reasons was that he thought he could bring the same technique used for the monsters to human expression. So basically, what he's saying is that, with a kaiju, with a rubber suited kaiju, it's sometimes hard to get expression out of them. And but a combination of a good director and a good suit actor, you can get a lot of emotion through the puppetry and through the body movements, because again, a lot of Japanese special effects also have a lot of their tradition based in things like kabuki theater, where a lot of it has to do with body movement. In fact, the motion capture actor for Shin Godzilla was a traditional kabuki actor. They got a guy to do these very deliberate movements, keep his upper body completely still while still moving his lower body. So even with kind of CGI influenced monsters, a lot of those traditions are still there. And I think there's a last question, which is I asked him, how'd you get into the business, and what was your first job in the business? And he actually he wanted to be a member of a Godzilla film crew since he was a kid. So he went to a film school in Tokyo to learn about tokusatsu. That school has passed away, which means that's the school's not there anymore. But his first movie job, nice little bringing it around full circle. His first job on a kaiju movie set was on GMK, the first movie we watched as part of Mass Monster Monday.
Isn't that your favorite?
That's my favorite Godzilla movie. And he's told me some fun. Stories from the set of that movie. And
it's a good movie. Highly recommend you go watch that one if you can too.
He's also he had a part-time job as an assistant on the site of a TV commercial for Ultraman Gaia's shoe tie-in. So there was a shoe commercial. There was a shoe commercial for Ultraman. That was one of his first gigs. I think that's really funny.
What are you gonna do?
And Sato-san has gone on. He's worked on several different pretty cool projects since then. Actually, he worked on he worked on a movie called EK Boys or something for, I think, an American director. Hold on, I've got to look that up. Y'all talk about something else.
Put me on the spot.
Hmm.
So, this morning, I watched this YouTube video. Yeah, it's gone now. Sorry. I watch a lot of craft videos, and it was like it was there for a second, and then it was gone.
And then finished.
I remember what it was. She made a little squid accessory for her cosplay out of an umbrella, and then she could like hit the button, and it went, and then there was a squid floating above her, and it was really not a squid, a jellyfish, and it was really cool.
Fun.
And her name is Sarah Spaceman.
Oh, that's cute.
I don't know if that's how she says it. If it's like you say it, Spaceman or something like that.
Spaceman.
Spaceman. I don't know, but go watch her show, her channel. It's good. She's a weird dorky Sarah, just like I am.
So
the best kind of Sarah.
So Sato-san actually directed the tokusatsu style effect sequences for this movie called EK Boys, which is directed by Eric McEver. He has okay, hold on. So he did this movie about these kids who are like Japanophile kids in Oklahoma, and they got Sato-san to do the effect sequences, these kind of tokusatsu effect sequences for the movie. And the movie has a 100% rating on Rotten Tomatoes. So,
whoa!
And it came out in 2021, so there hasn't even nobody's come in and ruin that score yet. So, I have to dig that movie up because I haven't seen it yet.
Speaking of Rotten Tomatoes, I did go and look before what the Rotten Tomatoes score is for Howl from Beyond the Fog. It doesn't exist. It's it's not there. They don't have anything about it. It does have an entry on the site, but there's no tomato meter, no nothing.
It is like a really niche indie film, and thankfully companies like SRS Cinema exist that those guys are the ones who put the movie out in the States. They also have put out a bunch of other cool indie kaiju movies like Monster Seafood Wars by comedy director Minoru Kawasaki, which is basically about giant killer seafood.
Which, if you are interested in, will be for sale at our table at, what's the name of the
All Monsters Attack.
All Monsters Attack. I was going to say Monsters.
Nice.
Nope, we've already done that.
Yeah, I'm sold out of my copies of Howl from Beyond the Fog, especially because I gave y'all the last two I had. So, you're welcome.
So special.
I get a big serotonin love language boost out of buying kaiju movies for my friends to watch. So
he loves sharing the joy of kaiju.
Yeah, I offered. I remember what the original thing was like. you wanted to do, I asked you to do Godzilla 99, I think it was, and that's because it was already on Netflix or something, and then you're like, can we do a different one? And I was like, as long as it's on a streaming service. And then he just fucking mailed us some movies. It was like, we're doing this one. I was like, oh, okay. Can we pay you back for the movies? No, that's fine. But at some point, I feel like we're gonna have to start throwing some money, or you're just gonna go bankrupt on buying us movies.
That's seriously his love language. He buys everybody things all the time. That's how he says, "I like you. I care about you. Will you be my friend? Here's a movie." You know, or a plushie, or you know,
or action figures.
Yeah, he likes.
Well, I think that must be like a neurodivergent thing, because I think that's what we all like. I agree. That's how, if I buy you something, it's because I like you, and that's how I like to show. Like, yeah, I won't say it because I hate saying the L word, you know. God. But especially when I'm referring to another human being, then I really hate it. But
you can go to your cats.
But
right?
yeah, like, but what? Sometimes I guess. I guess. But yeah, like, you know that I like you if I'm like, here, I bought you this thing, and that's that's how we do it.
I think it was there was a Twitter post that was like the neurodivergent love languages, which is like which is like one of the
buy you
like,
shit and info dumping, and
I found this cool leaf and or rock that I thought you would like. But for me, it tends to be monster toys. But yeah, well, like I said, you know, I'm just really glad y'all are. I'm just really glad y'all are enjoying this journey, and that I felt like we've had a really nice, well-rounded mix of movies up to this point. You know, we had a Godzilla movie, which also is my favorite. We had Mothra, which is, you know, just good old-fashioned campy, but in this very intentional way, this very like having fun kind of way. And then we do Howl from Beyond the Fog, which is a weird indie kaiju movie, because indie kaiju movies sometimes are
hit or miss.
They're kind of sometimes tend to be hit or miss. Like there's some that are like, I wish we're better. Like sometimes you'll get a Howl from Beyond the Fog, and then sometimes you'll get a Death Kappa. And I say that with nothing but love, because Death Kappa is a weird one. We might have to watch that one.
I'd like to watch it on purpose. Like, I want to know the range. So.
Yeah, I mean, you know, eventually we're going to get to like some stankers. And I say that again as somebody who, I think there's one kaiju movie I actively hate. And it's, I don't know if I want to give it away now.
Are we going to watch that one too?
We might have to, because I want to revisit it.
I'm curious.
That would be awesome. I would love to do a show about a kaiju movie that Matt Frank hates.
And I just have complicated opinions with
Andrew says that's same for him too. He buys his friend shit because that's how he shows him he likes him. Yep.
Buys friendship.
Well, he must really like us then, because you back us and stuff. So I'm gonna
Yay.
And we like you too.
Yay. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Keep them reeled in. Keep them on the hook.
That's not true.
But yeah, I'm just like I said. That one is the one that I'm thinking of. You know, I don't want to give too much away, but it is one of those movies where it's like I watched it and I got it, I understood it, I got what the director was going for. It's like, and I like completely understood everything about it. I just don't like it, and I don't think he and I would be friends.
That's fair.
But but I have been thinking about what the next movie will be.
A lot. He's been thinking a lot. Like, this has seriously been bothering him. He'll just randomly muttering, like, what are you muttering about? I'm trying to figure out which movie to do next. Like, I want to do the Gamera, but which one should I do? It just keeps,
I think everybody that's watching, let us know in the comments. But like, I have noticed that we get a lot of engagement. We get a lot of people watching when we have a Matt's Monster Movie Monday. So like, we can make this like an actual regular thing rather than just hey, when are we doing, like, we'll just be done with it, and then Matt's like, when are we doing the next monster movie night? And then I'll be like, yeah, whenever you have time. But we could totally, we could totally try to, like, schedule an actual thing. So, and I mean, it seems like y'all like to watch it, and we like to watch the movie and then dissect the shit out of it for an hour after we watch it, and then come on the show and tell you about what we talked about. So
pretty much.
Well, let us know if you have movie suggestions too.
Yeah, that too. Yeah, kaiju movies. And
in fact, it'd be fun. Like if y'all are watching now, sound off, and I'd be curious to see what first things come to mind, because we got a pretty cool watcher base here, and they tend to think outside of the box, which I appreciate. It was funny because we were at Giganticon over the weekend, which we had a really good time at. Really enjoyed ourselves. Godzilla versus Megalon. That's a maybe.
That's a maybe.
For a while, that was the most profitable, popular Godzilla movie in the United States, because it was just. They had a great marketing campaign. Let's say that. It's not one of the better Godzilla movies. In fact, it's considered kind of bottom of the barrel. We're not doing War of the God Monsters, Gerald. We're not doing a clumsily edited together compilation film made out of Ultraman episodes.
What? All of this sounds
kind
good.
Of amazing,
we should do all of it.
Which I also did the box art for.
You know what we could? Oh shit! You know what we could do though is like all these ones that Matt's like, no. We could watch, like, we could collect those, like. Well, every now and again we can watch one of those and then collect them into a Matt's Monster Movie Hate Day, and we can talk about all the ones that he hates for an episode. Like, we could totally do that, and then you can tell us why you hate them, because that's important.
It's so difficult because they're just, again, I hate. There's so few of them that I hate. There's just some that
which means it's actually doable for us to do shows about them.
Yeah, we could just
fair.
do a couple
of the issue you're having is the good ones you want.
These ones you don't like, and this is why, and and it'd probably be the shortest show that we'd ever have Matt on for. So,
Laura, you look like you have something on the tip of your tongue.
It's a cat.
Well, I want to know more about Batra now. Like what?
Yeah, same.
Thank you, Gerald. I do. Even though I did the art for the movie, I still haven't actually sat down and watched it yet. But because it's hard to have so many things to watch and so much stuff to draw. But yeah, Batra, that might be, because I know this is eventually going to be the Matt's Mothra movie Monday. I have a feeling because
we all seem to be kind of partial to
all
Mothra.
about Mothra, and of course there was.
Protect. She don't attack. She protect. She don't attack.
She also attack.
She also attack, but she attack to protect.
She protect. She attack. She'll eat your sweaters. I lost the rhyme. But
oh my god! Imagine finding that. Imagine finding that when you open up your closet one day.
So
shit.
if Mothra is like the Professor Xavier of kaiju, Batra is the Magneto. Space Amoeba is a good one. That's a good.
What is that?
Space Amoeba is a good one.
Space Amoeba sounds amazing. Yes.
Space Amoeba is
okay. A bunch of people just sent some shit.
Okay, yeah. Well, okay, we're doing a Daimajin movie at some point. We're doing a Daimajin movie. That's awesome. Another period piece kaiju adjacent film. Put a pin in Yongari. Put a pin. That's the Korean monster movie. That's the Korean kaiju movie.
Oh, Mike. Yeah, Mike fixed the rhyme. Yeah,
Mike coming in with the clutch. Oh, I love it.
That's perfect.
Okay, so next T-shirt.
Please, we need to make it a shirt.
No, we gotta fit. We finished the design. I gotta get that done. Get that up. So like next Matt's Monster Movie Monday. Like we'll schedule it when we're done here. We'll schedule the next one or whenever. Like we'll work it into your schedule. Like, but we'll debut that next time we do another Matt night. So yeah, because we got it done. It's done.
Yeah. So like I was saying, Batra is like the Magneto Matango's another good one. That's the one of the few truly scary
Man.
like tokusatsu
Gerald's
movies.
swinging in here with some good ones, huh?
Okay,
Batra is the
Yes.
Batra is the Mothra's not doing enough monster. Batra is the
Okay.
oh, you think you're protector of Earth and all that. Well, humanity's over here fucking around, and I'm here to help them find out. Because Batra is the Batra's the it's a clean slate. Clean slate. Humanity can't learn.
That sounds very Thanos-y too.
Batra's whole thing.
He said that he wants to make me a cosplay of Batra because we go to so many conventions and I love dressing up. If you've seen any of the fans seen the photos we posted, finally did some great photos. I dress up every time, but rarely get good photos. But I just have the few same things I wear over and over. Like, I don't know, 4 different things. But he's kind of thinking of ideas of, okay, you love dressing up already. What can we do that is kaiju related, to his artwork that I would like and get to know? And he's like, oh, Batra.
Batra is the eco-terrorist kaiju of your heart. And
that fits me.
Yeah. When we like over the weekend at Giganticon, we met some cosplayers from Strange Cat Cosplay.
Yes.
They were Godzilla, Mothra, and Rodan, but they were kind of like deconstructed human versions.
Mm-hmm.
So they had like armor and like outfits.
Super elaborate.
Oh,
Yeah.
cool.
They put thousands of dollars into the props and the costumes.
I may have proposed to Mothra more than once. But just the sheer volume of work they put into it, and now I'm just like, I want to design stuff like that. So I've been working on a thing for myself already. So
can you guess what character he wants to cosplay as? Anybody? Guess? Nobody? Really?
Steven Universe.
Whoa!
Sorry, just thinking about John Mulaney being like, "You're a fat girl." I'm just thinking about Steven Universe like, when I'm not a little fat boy.
Oh, okay.
It was the unkaiju-iest thing that popped into my head at the moment. So I was just attempting to be a smartass.
So yeah, no, it's okay. But the one of the movies that got suggested while we were at dinner with some friends or at Giganticon was for the next movie could be Gamera versus Gauss, because it's an old Gamera movie. It's a Showa Gamera movie. It kind of it does a good job kind of representing the original cycle of films. And it's also like not a bad movie. It does have a precocious child character in it, as Gamera movies are wont to do. But it's not like painful to sit through like some of the later Gamera movies. And because eventually we're going to do the Gamera trilogy, which are 3 of my favorite movies of all time. But you need context. You need context for Gamera. And doing an old Gamera movie is a good way to do that. Anyway,
Yeah, because I haven't seen any Gamera stuff, so I'm also excited about that. There's a bunch of them that I'm excited about.
Smog Monster is a good one too. It's we'll have to time that one for like Earth Day next year.
Isn't that Hedera?
Hedera, yeah.
Don't you be proud of me? I'm learning.
Careful, it's learning.
It's
a reference. Don't worry about it. Team 4-star, like careful, it's learning. But yeah, Smog Monster will be another good one. It's just there's just so damn many of them, and there's such a wide spectrum. But there's also a lot of them that kind of tend to flow together after a while, so you got to be careful about.
We watched the Gamera trilogy all in kind of like one very long go. I still cannot tell the movies apart because to me it's just one long movie.
Well, it's one long story. Like the Gamera trilogy does kind of form this one long arc. It's one of the rare trilogies that gets better with each movie. Like Gamera 3 is considered one of the greatest monster movies ever made. So,
oh wow.
Yeah, but
that's cool.
I've been sweating in this jacket for a while. I didn't know if I didn't know.
Oh my god, just a cloud of heat coming out.
I can't get it off. Yeah, get that, please. Thank you.
Oh my, look at those pit stains.
No.
Are you guys okay?
It's for the cat. The whole set of
What was? Oh shit! A water poured.
It's right
the speaker around his leg, and he was like, "Go."
Okay, so I had a mental picture of this happening earlier in the show.
Everyone's okay. Everyone's okay.
Nobody's
Everyone's
injured.
okay. Nothing is wrong here.
Laguna came to
milk-
find out what was
milk's
happening
full
too.
No, the milk was empty. Okay.
Yeah, mine didn't get up to actually come over here. They're just looking at me like, what the fuck is wrong with you, you psycho?
Going on?
Are you okay, buddy? Cords up. What? Oh, this one?
Yes, thank
Yeah, I
you.
picked it up. Oh, Christ.
We should have just
I'm
ended the
glad
stream
the camera
there.
didn't like pan
Like,
down.
yes,
because we're
how
not
can
wearing
we-
pants.
Dude, that's a different story than what you think.
We're not
it
wearing
does.
coordinating pants.
There you go.
Wearing like pajama bottoms.
I mean, as long as you're wearing pants, because
Yeah.
otherwise that would have been awkward.
On that note,
Yay!
is there anything else we wanted to talk about?
I think we need to stop now before something really bad happens.
Woo, baby!
No, well, crooked. Nope, this way.
Oh,
We'll
Oh,
pretend
okay.
that Godzilla shook the house. It's fine.
Yes, that was it.
I
Well,
wish
we
I had a
have-
video for that.
Well, she recorded it'll be on YouTube, so we
No,
can-
no,
Oh.
but if Remus
Oh.
over and he's just like, because the thing was wrapped.
Look at all three of them are just like, what the? All of them are like this, like,
Oh my god,
what the hell's going on?
that was the funniest thing. Oh my god. Okay, you okay?
Well,
I got a safety pin holding my
Oh,
belt
no!
up. It's stabbing
Well,
me.
go. Okay,
oh
go.
my god. We should go.
We did. Okay. Okay.
We should go before we have a
Everything's
wardrobe malfunction, and then YouTube bans our account, and then we'll never have another show again.
Oh my god.
But we're
Okay.
gonna do another monster movie, that's for sure.
Yeah.
I don't know, like we'll have to work out the other details about like when and which movie and all that, but y'all find out as soon as we know. We share that information. So my chest hurts a little, like I have a side pain because I laughed too hard. Yeah. So we'll be back next week.
Oh.
I didn't look up what we're doing next week.
There, the smoke. The
Wait,
fog.
That was
wait.
amazing.
Hold on, we're gonna do it again. Oh, look at that!
That is amazing.
Oh, that's awesome!
That was so cool. Shit.
That's the way to go out. That's the way
Yes.
to end the show.
Yeah,
You
we
just
should have
real
coordinated
stupid
this
and
shit
everything's
beforehand.
Cool.
You gotta stop coming up with awesome ideas when it's like when we're already like 99% done with the show. Anyway, yes. I forgot to look up what we're doing next week, but we're gonna be back next week because like we try and do an episode every week. So those things, and we'll let you know when we do another Matt's Monster Night, like we do Matt's Monster Movie Monday. And thank you, Matt and Caston, for joining us.
guys
Go
for
watch
having us.
Howl from Beyond the Fog. It's on Amazon Prime. Like I said, if you got Amazon Prime, go watch it. It's like 35-40 minutes. It's very short. Like I said, long. Like Sandman is longer. And
Yeah, let
but
us know
like
what you
watch
think.
Sandman too. Like in
Yeah.
addition to Sandman, watch Howl from Beyond the Fog.
Yes.
And yeah. Also have a lovely evening because that's always important too. I don't want everybody to have bad evenings. And
Let's go to holidays.
we'll see you next week, I guess. Yeah. So
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye. What a key.